to go inward with that moon card. Now is the time for you to connect with your spirituality, to face your fears of everything you've been avoiding emotionally by throwing yourself into career or throwing yourself into work. I almost feel like also what's happening, like, yes, you're in a toxic environment and you need to get out of there, but I also feel like there's this thing of what can I do for work or career so that I don't feel crummy anymore, so that I don't feel miserable anymore. And Spirit is saying, yes, you're in a toxic job. Yes, you need to get out of that toxic environment, but you're going to feel crummy still. Even though there might be an improvement for getting out of a toxic place, eventually you're still going to feel crummy and you're still not going to feel fulfilled with the job or the work because all of the suppressed or repressed feelings are coming up. So those need to be addressed. And so that might be why creativity is coming up. Maybe you're not somebody that would typically gravitate towards that creativity, or maybe you would want to see yourself doing something differently, but from a healing aspect, the creativity needs to come into play, and it's going to connect you more deeply with your intuition. I also feel you're very hungry to connect with your spiritual gifts, and I do think that's going to happen for you. I think October is going to be a big time for you where you're having some spiritual experiences, where you're like, wow, like I just, had a feeling and that proved to be true, or I just sensed my guardian angel, or whatever it might be. I feel like you're connecting more with receiving your messages. And this could also be why Spirit is encouraging you into that realm of creativity, because a lot of people don't realize creativity and intuition go hand in hand. They're like sisters or cousins, like they're related, and they strengthen one another. I do feel that you're going to go down like a spiritual path where you're doing things like taking workshops or classes, and like connecting with either energy work or reading energy, or doing readings or something similar to what I do. I could see you doing that, and I do feel it's something that you might just kind of start doing as fun, as like as a release. And I do feel you'll have an opportunity to decide later on if you want to, like, make money doing it, if you want to open up and, do it for other people for pay. I do feel you're gifted enough and talented enough to do that, where people would be willing to pay you to read for them or to do healings for them. But it takes time for that kind of thing to build. It's not something that happens overnight. And I don't mean in terms of like your gifts or your abilities. Gifts can strengthen in a very short period of time. It's more so like, for example, to quit your job and to just do readings full time or to do healings full time. It takes time to sometimes build up clientele. But more so than that, it takes time to build up your endurance, energetically, to be able to do enough in a day, to enough in a week, to where like you could make an income living off doing that. It's like a muscle that you, like an endurance that you have to, you can't just like get up and run 10 miles in your first try if you're not a runner. So there's endurance, there's things like that. But in terms of as far as being quote unquote good at it, being good at it can happen in a very short period of time. And I do feel like you're unlocking your gifts and your abilities, also in that way. But yeah, I do think work wise, you do need to get into a new environment work wise and begin working on your healing and your release, and that is connecting you very deeply and very strongly with your spiritual gifts and abilities. Okay, I'm gonna pull some cards here about your transition out of the job. Sorry. Okay, Okay, so we're going to pull some cards here regarding your transition out of the job. Okay. So we've got Queen of Rods. So again, she's a very creative energy, and we did talk about creativity, and she's very much an entrepreneur kind of energy for me as well. Okay, so I do feel you're someone that's getting to a point in your life where you are wanting to work independently. Okay, or you're just getting to a point where you want the freedom to be able to do things your way. You're seeing your gifts, you're seeing your abilities. You know what you bring to the table. You may have been very underappreciated, and now you're wanting to have more independence. Again, like I said, Queen of Rods for me does feel like a self-employed energy, and I think in your heart of hearts that's what you're wanting to do, to have some kind of a business. But let's pull clarifiers here. Why is Queen of Rods here? All right, my dear. There's that Justice card again. Five of Swords. Four of Pentacles. It's the same thing again. You're afraid to do it, that you're not going to make enough money. You're not believing in yourself. There's also someone that doesn't agree with you working for yourself. But you need to, pursue your path and do what's right for you. That doesn't mean you're going to do it in a risky way where you're going to show up and just quit your job and say, okay, I'm going to try to build a business now. There needs to be a transition, okay? There needs to be a transition. But I do feel ultimately where you're headed, if you can get over the fear, is working for yourself. Two of Pentacles, there's a lot going on right now, a lot of stress. You might be trying to do too many things at once. It's going to be important for you to simplify your life and to take a more playful approach. But let's pull clarifiers. Why is Two of Pentacles showing up here? What does Two of Pentacles want Sid to know? What does Two of Pentacles want Sid to know? We have Temperance. We have Ace of Swords. And we have Knight of Cups. So this success in business, it's not going to come from you hustling and busting your ass. I mean, don't get me wrong, hard work is involved. But there's a divine timing here behind the scenes. You need to be patient with yourself. You got to walk before you can run. In Ace of Swords is saying there's limited beliefs or limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Knight of Cups is also being in your joy. Remember how Two of Pentacles, I was saying you take a more playful approach. As you're in your joy, you're going to attract more opportunities to yourself. As you're in your joy, you're going to attract more abundant flow to yourself. And as you're in happier thoughts, you're going to attract better things. opportunities, chances for growth, clientele, things of that nature, business ideas. Um, it's just there's a lot of limited beliefs right now that you need to overcome. So you may be doubting yourself and you may be telling yourself all kinds of reasons why it's not going to happen. Like, oh, if it hasn't happened by now, then it's never going to happen, or it's too late, or I should have started before, or nobody's going to take me seriously, or I'm never going to come up with the resources, all kinds of things, you might be telling yourself. But these are limited beliefs. So you need to be open to, the universe aligning you and bringing you in with those right resources. And the more you raise your vibration, the quicker this is going to happen. Hence the whole thing about being with your joy, releasing the old pain, expressing it creatively. These are the things that are going to help speed up the process of the results coming in. You may have already tried to start some kind of a business, but it either feels like it's not moving or it's not moving fast enough. And this is saying that this is how you're going to speed it up. You're going to speed it up through this connection and through this way. Okay? So write down all of the reasons why you believe yourself to be stuck, or why you believe things are stuck and why things aren't working out for you. Take a look at it, read it over, then write the same thing but the opposite way, like the positive way, the positive sentence. So example, it hasn't worked out, like, if it was gonna happen, it would have happened by now. And say maybe the opposite positive of that would be, it didn't happen before because it wasn't time, but the time is now. This is the time for it to happen. Or like, people don't take me seriously. People can see how much experience I have behind me, or how intelligent I am, or my creativity will see me through, or my intelligence, or I wouldn't have this desire if I wasn't meant to succeed. Whatever, like, positive thought you can put. Like, for example, even if you don't believe it, like if somebody wrote, because I'm stupid, and they might genuinely believe that they're stupid, but you're gonna write, I'm smart. Even if you don't believe it, you're gonna write the opposite positive thing. Once you have these two things, you're gonna take the more negative one and you're gonna say I release, and you're gonna read it out loud. Like, these are all of the beliefs that you're releasing, right? Rip it up, throw it away, and then say, I now embrace, and read the positive one. This positive one will be your affirmation. You can read it the first thing out loud every single morning when you wake up, and the last thing every night before you go to bed, because this is the time in which the brain is making a transition from sleep to wake, from wake to sleep. So it's the best time to implant it, because then it starts to become a part of your subconscious thinking, to where you don't have to work so hard to remind yourself, and you can change the way you're looking at yourself, the way you're looking at the situation. You begin to program yourself for that transformation. You begin to program yourself for that success. So I want you to begin doing this, okay? I want you to begin doing this. This is going to be some affirmation work that you can do for yourself. Here's that pesky Seven of Swords again. So I do feel there could be somebody who's drilling holes in your boat, my dear. They may be feeding your doubts, and they're feeding your doubts because it makes them feel secure, like they're not going to lose you. Like you're not going to go off and do something else, or forget about them, or they want you to have time for them and not be busy with something else. Seven of Swords could also sometimes indicate that you're going to have to go about your goals and your dreams and your plans in a way where you're keeping your cards close to your chest. You're not sharing it with everybody, because you just have this beautiful little candle and there's people walking around trying to blow it out. So you're not going to show them. You're not going to show them your candle. Let's go ahead and see what clarifiers we have for Seven of Swords. Why is Seven of Swords showing up here for Sid? What message does Seven of Swords have for Sid? We've got Ace of Cups. We've got Knight of Swords. Somebody is really against whatever it is you're wanting to do. Like they're not having it at all. Right? So if you're wanting them to be on board, they're not going to be on board. They're not going to be on board. I mean, if you're waiting for that to happen, it's never going to happen. Oh gosh. Why is Five of Cups here? It's like you're walking away from your foundation and your security and everything you've known to go on this new path. You're being made to feel like you have to choose between your life as you have it now and this dream and this desire. And that's not fair. That's kind of toxic if you ask me, but just know this, if you give it up, you're giving up your Ace of Cups. That life of joy. But if you don't go in the direction, it's going to fall apart anyway. Spirit is going to remove it from your path anyway. So this isn't just your job. This is also things in your personal life. If you don't begin taking the steps in this new direction, Spirit wants you to have this Ace of Cups. And if you allow anybody to keep you from that Ace of Cups, Spirit's going to remove that person or that situation from your life. And you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to move forward. This makes me want to look into your relationship. Let's see what messages does Spirit have for Sid in relationship. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for only allowing an accurate truth. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, for bringing in healing. What does Sid need to know about committed relationship, the current committed relationship? What does Sid need to know about the current committed relationship? What does Sid need to know about the current committed relationship? Got King of Cups, King of Pentacles. You might have some temptation there. Three of Rods. Ten of Pentacles. Temperance. Gosh. Well, my dear. Two different court cards coming in, a lot of the times in my experience, indicates two different options. Why is King of Cups here? Why is King of Pentacles here? Yeah, oh gosh. So King of Cups can represent the current relationship and the stability in the sense of home. But King of Pentacles is this new direction. So you may even be tempted to leave the relationship. You may be just tempted right now for a complete and total makeover of your life. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, I know you told me you're in a committed relationship. You haven't given me any background. You haven't told me if you're happy in the relationship, if you're not happy in the relationship. But normally when I get two court cards coming in, or cards with different, more than one person on them, it makes me feel there's a temptation, or there's a having to pick, or there's having to choose. You even had Three of Wands, and Three of Wands could indicate a third party kind of situation. Even if you're not actively with someone else, it could be that there's a temptation, like somebody's kind of coming into the mix and tempting you away. The Fool card is like, you're just kind of tempted to abandon all reason and take a leap of faith in a new direction. Okay? Your energy just feels to me very held down. Like your whole life you've been held down and you've struggled to get out from underneath that oppression. And it used to make you feel strong. It used to make you feel good about yourself. Like I said, that resilience made you feel like a badass. That resilience made you feel successful and unstoppable. And I do feel you're having a spiritual awakening, and now you're like, well, but now I want the path where I'm not being held down, where I can go do what I want to do and be happy and not have to prove myself, not have to be resilient unnecessarily, so like not having to prove that all the time. So the Fool card is making me feel like you're kind of wanting to go in a new direction here. Although, albeit with this King of Cups, Ten of Cups is saying, it's been a good run. It's been satisfying, but you're wanting something new. King of Pentacles maybe is not even, you know what? I take that back. Maybe it's not another person. King of Pentacles could be a business or a work opportunity. Like it could be that your partner has given you a lot of stability or a sense of stability or a sense of happiness. But that King of Pentacles could be like you want to be the King of Pentacles now, and you want to grow something for yourself, and you want to have this business. King of Pentacles can be a business. It can be, seizing a financial opportunity, and you're feeling very guided to do it. You're feeling very led to do it. Three of Wands is also enterprise, right? There's this point of no return. So once you start and once you start committing to this, it's going to take off. It's going to be successful. And it's going to produce finances for you. It's going to produce abundance, okay? But you're going to have to be patient with yourself here. Like it's going to take time. It might take time for your partner to come around and be accepting of it. It might take time for it to grow to the extent to where you can just, not have any other job and only work this business. But there is a strong sense of entrepreneurship here in the cards. Even though I'm looking into the love relationship, you still have business cards coming in. Like I said, King of Pentacles can be a business or a work opportunity. Three of Rods is an entrepreneurship kind of energy. The point of no return, like you're going forward and things are happening and changing. Ten of Pentacles is, manifestation, financial abundance. So even though I'm looking and asking about the relationship, there's these business aspects that are coming up. So maybe the question here also might be, do you do the business with them or do you bring them into the mix in a hope of making them supportive or making them feel included? But we've got King of Cups and King of Pentacles. You can't have two kings. It's not going to work. You can't have two kings in one kingdom. So I just feel like you need to get over your fear and begin moving in this direction. I do feel like you have some idea in your heart of some business. You feel very guided to do it. And I think that as you connect with your creativity, a lot of ideas are going to come to you because you're going to also be connecting with your intuition. And you're going to receive a lot more of the guidance of how to go about it, what to do. Yeah, but I really, let's see. Let's pull some more clarifiers. What else does Sid need to know about everything that's been discussed? What else does Sid need to know about everything that's been discussed? We've got Ten of Swords. The old life is over. There's no going back to it at all. Oh, you might be doing something with sobriety or recovery as well. because Five of Cups to me is somebody numbing themselves, and it could sometimes indicate somebody's drinking or doing drugs. And Ten of Swords is recovery. It's recovering from an addiction. Okay, so I don't know if that's a part of it for you. Like, I don't know if there's something that you're recovering from, and there's some emotional stuff that hasn't been dealt in that process that needs to be dealt with, or if you may be doing something where you're helping others with recovery, if that's something that you're passionate about. But there's also a sense here, a sense of overcoming addiction, overcoming toxic environments, toxic substances. You may be doing something along those lines in terms of business. Okay, but your creativity is going to be a big part of this, because it's going to bring a tremendous amount of healing your way and connect you with the intuition that's going to bring you the guidance. So I hope this was helpful, my dear. There were a lot of interfering energies here in terms of people involved. So those are more difficult to differentiate if you don't have someone on the phone. But I hope this was helpful, and I am sending you lots of love and lots of light.